session and the final session, the evaluation session, there was a joke going around that when you are in Bangalore city, you throw a stone and more than half the chance that it will hit an engineer. Our next role taker is an engineer by profession, a university rank holder in fact. He is a technical director at a solar power generation company called Avi Solar. Though he is a technical person, his employees look up to him for motivation because he is very good at motivating people. And please put your hands together to welcome the general evaluator of today, the humorous, unassuming and dynamic Somshekhar.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. There are these two young boys who just walked out from satsang. They were talking about secrets, prayer. They were all confused. Okay, so they had some doubt. So they wanted to clarify this, and they met a guru, must be the same one which Melvin was mentioning. So one of these friends went and asked, "Sir, can I smoke as I pray?" What nonsense, said the guru. How can you do that? That's a bad thing. He came back to the friend and said, it's clarified, you are not supposed to do that. So the friend went again to this guru and asked, "Sir, can I pray while I smoke?" Guru said, "Fantastic, that's very good. God is everywhere. You need to think about Him anytime." Right? So the answer you get most of the time depends on what kind of question you ask. Right? It's the same scenario. So the point is, you need to be different. So in my experience, one of the things why people get stuck is we do things over and over and over again and expect different results, which generally doesn't happen. The theme today, try things to see if they work. Toastmaster is the best place where you can really try out things. You don't get this other places, right? You are afraid. Why you don't try different things? Because you are afraid of failure. People will laugh at us. But this is one place, my dear friends, people will encourage you to the core. And thanks to Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. Now, today, I thought there was some cake cutting. Maybe it will happen later. Well, he's the man who started this movement. But then, let's evaluate this meeting. So I will just try to focus on what are the things being done differently. Till today, I thought, if you want to be motivated, come here and listen to great speeches. But today I realized, if you want to be motivated, come here at 5:30 p.m. You know why? Our Sergeant at Arms, Simran Chopra, the way she sets up this place single-handedly, the kind of energy she's got, she is really alive. Forget about her diet speeches. It's the lifestyle which she has, very sure, is keeping her fit and dynamic. She will motivate any one of you. So the next time, don't come at 6:30, come here at 5:45 or 5:30 and see her setting up this stage. A big round of applause to our Arms, who was behind the scene today. And in front of the scene, we had Teresa Martha. Where is she? She has left the scene. Alright. For a moment, well, there were, of course, faux pas. She said February 22nd, which is tomorrow. Right? Alright. A great way to start a meeting is always said you need to really connect with people. I think she did it very well. So I'm not sure whether that assignment was given only at the last moment or last moment. Then I think we need to really appreciate her because she filled in that role and wonderfully connected to the audience and did talk a lot about Toastmasters. For a job well done, let's give Teresa. My only observation there is, for a moment I thought she was acting president as well, because she covered so many aspects. She took more than time manager. Can you say how much?
345.
3.45 minutes? Okay, fine. So usually Sergeant comes in 2 minutes, but I thought she covered a lot of topics and stole away a few words from our president who came in next. Again, I think he really personified that theme, right? Trying things to see if they work. Last week I saw him change his hairstyle, and I think that is still working for him. Our smart, handsome president with his smile motivating all of us here. We have seen Melvin from many years, and in fact I think that story you really cut it short is what I felt, Melvin, right? The story of the student who's really gasping for breath. I felt you should have really continued that entire story. It kind of ended abruptly, according to me. A great message, Melvin. Usually he comes out of the lecture and speaks, but today I saw him just consider here. Well, you got how many weeks to go now as a president? 2 weeks. Right. I'm very sure we would like to see Melvin really charged up and giving us more motivational tips. So looking forward for that, Melvin. A big round of applause to really encouraging us and has been great behind the scenes as well, because I've been really seeing him motivating the team. Well, you had a 4-4-2, that was 141 versus 181. Before we went to our Toastmaster of the day, well, let us talk about him. You know, when he gave, or actually when he was the master of ceremony in this club the last time?
4 years.
That's correct. I think someone would have married, then their child will be going to Montessori. Right? Well, Mr. Jose Paul, as you all know, he is a data-driven person. He is so meticulous. That's how he has been. You know, I think when I was there, he was part of the committee as well. Really data-driven and really showed it to us. Like the kind of data he had was amazing. Well dressed for the occasion. He did have a lot of things to talk about, Dr. Ralph Smedley. One suggestion, Jose, the time here I think should be really utilized very well. I felt you had, you really took us through United States of America, like state of Illinois, Midwestern state of, you were just roaming around the places they are telling where he actually comes from. So I felt that was not needed, because the matter is it's about him, right? If you look at the speech, you mentioned Bloomington, which is again city of Illinois. There were too many of these reference to places which I felt it was kind of redundant, Jose. Well, in a one-on-one we can always clarify such kind of things, but here people were just looking up to what is that you're going to say. And your entire introduction was all about Dr. Ralph Smedley, which is absolutely good because we all respect him for what he has done for the community. I felt you could have added 2 or 3 other incidents which would have given more color for the entire session. But otherwise, great introduction to every speaker. He had really researched it, and I've seen really working throughout the week in ensuring the meeting ends on time as well. Right? Let's give a round of applause to Jose Paul, who took up this assignment after 4 long years. So we need to really encourage all the people to come here very often. Jose, a great job done. Let's now move to our first speaker, and the evaluator was Simran Chopra. May I invite Simran Chopra for the evaluation?
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Shahina in particular. To start, Shahina, I would like to thank you for coming up here and talking about something that is so personal and so difficult. I think it takes a great deal of courage to come up here and share with a room full of strangers something that is so difficult. So can we please have a round of applause for that? Shahina, I think you have great vocabulary, great speech clarity, and you're very confident on stage. You come across as a very strong woman, and I think that came across in your speech as well. And when people use personal stories, it's extremely engaging. And when they're emotional, it kind of reaches out to each one of us. Didn't she reach out to all of you all? Thank you for that, Shaina. When you started out, you started with another lovely story. And it took us back to that hospital. But I thought you were a little bit soft. And in fact, in many of the cases when you were on stage and you got emotional, you became really soft. So maybe either look at using a mic or trying to project your voice a bit more. And there's something that I do a lot as well that I've been working on that I think that both need to work on is to the gesture of putting our hair back, which is why I try to push it back all the time when I'm on stage. I think that can be a bit distracting for people. The other one that I thought, you had a very strong story, very impactful, but then when you add little bits of informality to it, for example, you guys, or I met an Irish guy, that kind of takes away from it. Overall, I think adding a bit of vocal variety, like maybe lowering your voice when Shyam died and using pauses would have a great impact on a dramatic story. And maybe using shorter, simpler sentences, slightly slower, like they say, less is more. But overall, I think you are a very strong and confident speaker. You have the ability to inspire. And I think you inspired me today to understand that no matter what life throws at you, that there is a way to sustain it and to get back up. So thank you so much for that, Shaina.
Thank you, Simran, for that wonderful evaluation. She has covered it all. So being in technology hub, I think caller mic is something which we should support our speakers, and that was a great impact speech. Again, a great motivational speech, Shaina. Very sure it will be remembered for them. It's another round of applause. Speaker number 2, that's project 6. May I request evaluator Richard D'Souza to give the feedback, please.
Generally honored, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guest, and Mr. Manjunath in particular. I really appreciate and admire your speech. You deliver a morally pregnant message by your beautiful speech and enlightened us to the core. Volume of your speech was excellent, though you didn't stand before the mic, but you stood in the middle of the stage. I am very sure that each and every member of the audience received him very clearly. Am I right? Yes. A big round of applause to Mr. Manjunath. Really excellent. You neither spoke too fast or too slow, and pitch of your speech was spectacular. Whenever you call, Saurabh! Yes, whole hall echoed, and whenever Shastri pressed the stomach of Saurabh and you all message arms of Saurabh, because really message was conveyed so well. Quality of your speech was very nice. You were very friendly and confident, and you had adequate pauses. You gave time to the audience to sink in your message and to look forward what you are going to tell later. And word usage was very simple. There were no jargons. You used Kannada, Ballurige Dariyalli, same you converted into English, so that everyone was able to understand it so well. Body language was spectacular. The counting of numbers was really made a mark, and I really liked the message. But one thing is, I felt that whenever you found that 14% was missing, you could have more dramatized the scene, because your speech was peppered with very good humor, and I think this episode was swayed by same mood. Yes, one man was missing, and we were flabbergasted. Our heart stopped pounding. That kind of word would have provided a better speakers. But apart from this, I really found that your speech was excellent. A big round of applause to Manjunath for that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richard D'Souza. Yes, we did enjoy Manjunath's speech, and the topic he selected was very apt. For the benefit of guests, so Toastmasters is about speaking, you all know, and the guidelines are very clear. What are all the ingredients needed for a great speech? How do you really connect to the audience? So one of the milestones which Manjunath attempted today is voice vocal variety, right? How the tone of your voice can impact, and I think Richard demonstrated that very well, and of course Manjunath did show that in his speech. So one suggestion, Manjunath, well, you had scenarios where you could call the names loudly. So to me, vocal variety is a little bit more than that. This is actually the speech. It's not really, bringing in your voice or something. The way you are narrating the story, how you can really vary your pitch things, right? So next time you can attempt with the coming speeches. Great round of applause for our speaker number 3, is Ankit, and this evaluator, we have Prakash Kamakar here.
Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and Toastmaster Ankit in particular. I liked the way you came on stage and delivered a speech which not only inspired us to be different, but it was a milestone speech for you. A milestone speech also requires you to speak for the entire 8 minutes that are available to you, and I see that you haven't been able to utilize the time that was given. It is well short of that requirement. And we did speak during the break, and you preferred to give this speech again. Having said that, I would like to bring out a couple of things I liked and a couple of things that you could probably improve upon. What I liked was the way you started the speech. It really connected with me in particular very well. I also liked the way you connected it to the rest of the speech that you wanted to give, and the central message that masterpiece does take time to make. And I realize your masterpiece is going to take more time to reach your CC10. That said, I would like you in particular and everyone in the audience to remember the values of Toastmasters, which we always stand for. Does anyone remember? Rise, respect, integrity, service, and excellence. Keep that in mind, be yourself, and I will see you at the top. Back.
Thank you, Prakash. Ankit, he is my favorite speaker. Every time I listen to him, I really get energized. Again, for the benefit of guests, this was speech number 10. It's a milestone speech where you are supposed to inspire your audience. And of course, he is inspiring, and his stories were too today, right? However, I felt the masterpiece is yet to come. That's my personal opinion. It's out there, and you know what, right? The masterpiece is yet to come, but you need to make an attempt. So there was some unique thing which he tried. So generally for a CTM, people work for weeks and prepare himself. But you ask him after the meeting how much time he took. Okay? So that's amazing, that's different, and knowing what he did, I'm very sure he gave a great speech. Big round of applause for our speaker number 4, Lalit, and his evaluator, Vijay. Please put your hands together for our evaluator.
Timer, please note 2 to 3 minutes. Display the green at 2, 2.5 yellow, and red at 3. Right hand go. Every human being under the sun craves for praise, and Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, is no exception to this rule. As general validator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and others in particular, you praise Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, for doing a fantastic job. That's one of the objectives. Praise the person living or there, and a famous person. First objective well. Second, address 5 areas regarding his accomplishments. Excellent, Bharat. And the 2 which stood out for me, the last fourth and fifth one, the 2 P's. Pajamas and pets to the office. That's some accomplishment which not done before. Larry Page, I think, is working here. You have to have anecdotes to illustrate the points. You did. One example was about Gmail, the ads popping up, a very nasty incident for Google. You had anecdotes. Having said that, Lalit, any speech, any walk of life, there are some gaps, and let's see how we can bridge those gaps. Now, any speech which is worth praising anyone, it's got to be inspirational. I thought there we missed a trick or two. If I were in your place, the message for the audience, that wasn't there. Just think about this. Friends, what lessons could we learn from Larry Page? He faced adversity calmly. You and I can do that. He was innovative and creative. You and I can be innovative and creative. And he persevered. The first 2 years of setting up Google, it wasn't a walk in the park. He persevered and he succeeded. You and I can do that. You are asking the audience to go to a new level. That's inspirational. That's what you want to try today. It's inspirational, this talk. I felt there we missed a trick or two. You tried. You said, I think we should use the emotional intelligence that Larry Page had. No time for doubts, my friend. Friends, we should use the emotional intelligence that Larry possesses. That's inspirational. This was about praising. I was very concerned. You got a small glass here and you raised a toast. We appreciate your love for raising the toast, right? But this is only praising.
I was told the toast.
Okay. It happened to be a 4-4, I think, I don't know. Let's avoid that because the drink might spill over. Larry will get drunk, we'll get drunk. Let's avoid that. And moreover, it's good to build suspense, but Larry's name was introduced a good 2.5, 3 minutes after the speech started. I thought that come a little earlier. And the project calls for you to conclude a powerful statement. If I was in your place, friends, don't sell yourself short. We can be on the same page as Larry Page if we just take a leaf from his book. Let me end by praising you, Lalit. You selected a topic which is apt for today's modern world, 21st century. I'm sure 80% of the people here will 90% use Google, and it resonates with the audience. And I'd like to praise you for your style, the way you praise Larry Page. Back to the team.
Vijay gives an evaluation, there's nothing more I can add. That was a wonderful speech, Lalit. Truly enjoyed every moment. Well, but then I just got remembered, or actually got alerted here, what the digital world has done. It's not just you listening here, right? Somebody else listening. That instrument, why it got freaked up there? I think he used Hey Google or Hey Siri. It's just responding to the command there. That's why you should be careful about. You have all the roomy speakers and the LSK helping you everywhere, but you are being monitored. So the evaluation is not just here. Thanks, Larry Page. All right, going on to table topic session. We had Shivaguru, then another billionaire here. Now billionaires come in different ways to our life. Right? Again, excellent topics, Shivaguru. So was it
Shivraj.
Sorry.
4 point. He's just using the.
Shivraj, is this the first time as a table topic master? Good. I think for being the first time, taking that step, coming here, let's give a round of applause for he's creative, his topics well like that. Only suggestion, Shiv, we couldn't hear you. Sitting here yourself, actually, many times your voice was getting lost. I don't know whether this is working here. In fact, you were adjusting the mic, but we could not hear you many of the occasions. Then that question at the opening of table topic session, I thought you didn't get a favorable response, right? So that's what sometimes happens. So it's better to be safe. Initially, when you're trying something, you go and tell what table topics is all about. However, you stuck to the time and gave us some wonderful topics. Let's give a round of applause. request my tag team. We'll start with Sudeep on her report on the arts. Applause for Sudeep, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping to get the time to average out the number of short pauses, structured words, etc. for today, but I will do that before I submit the final report. I will give details in the final report, but I just want to, in the interest of time, announce the name of the Toastmasters with almost no, or in some cases absolutely no usage of fresh words, long pauses, short pauses, or repetitions. Major props to the following Toastmasters: Lalit in both of his speeches, minutes of the meeting and his prepared speech; Toastmaster Prakash, Toastmaster Vijay Anand, Toastmaster Deepthi, Sujata, and Kamlesh. Thank you.
Now, Vivek will read his demerit report. Standing there.
Let me read out some of the good usages. Tunnel of darkness. Everything is easy if it is crazy. Water shimmering in the sunlight. And the bolt from the blue. Plan your work and work your plan. Same page as Larry Page. And let me also give it to one improvisation, that is freaking traffic. So, in spite of the word, many speakers intentionally or unintentionally have made some faux pas today, and this has not happened in the recent times. Who used the word of the day? Jose, Deepthi, Soma, and Vijayanand. And for a change, I did not note any not so good usages of. There were not so good usages, but I am not going to speak about it at all. Thank you.
True not Vivek for you. We'll move on to our timer.